Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Military Family Investing. All right, so today we're going to be talking about the hidden benefits of joining the military. Okay, we all know about the big benefits: travel, pay, serving your country, yada, yada, yada. But let's get into some of the smaller things that after 24 years, that luckily, as I head into retirement, I still get to benefit these things and still get to use and abuse these things because they've been great over the last years. Okay, now let's look into it. Healthcare. So, healthcare is decent. That's saying a lot. Okay, and the cost is good. So, like every other healthcare, probably start with a corpsman. They refer you to the doc. The doc looks at you, and then if you need a specialist, you get a specialist. Or you need physical therapy. You need um, surgery, stuff. Yeah, you might have to be persistent, but for the most part, you're going to get taken care of. You might have to, kick and scream, but that's everywhere, right? But at least you're not kicking and screaming in pain each time you go. All right. So healthcare is top benefit, especially going into retirement. Your healthcare costs are way lower than the average American family. Okay. Taxes. All right. So BAH, housing allowance, is tax free. Your subsistence, your food allowance is tax free, plus whatever other allotments or entitlements you rate, depending on where you're at, it could be tax free. Right. So, and also you're not paying 7% towards your pension. All right. The military pays that. So most people who have a pension are paying towards that pension fund out of their current paycheck. All right. You are just collecting your paycheck. On the back end, you're going to get your 40%, 50%, 60% based on the new retirement. Okay, which is good. Okay, commissary, PX. Now, the commissary, at first I didn't, like to use the commissary as much. Yeah, when you're overseas, you use the commissary. But in the States, I'm like, let's go to Walmart. However, a combination of Walmart and the commissary can serve you well. All right, commissary is tax free, and there's some special deals that they're good at. Walmart's good at special deals. So once you know and you have the time to search out the deals at the best place, you can make a really good profit margin between the two. All right. Now, if you're looking at the commissary versus somewhere like Vaughn's, it's a wrap. Like Vaughn's is at least twice as expensive as commissary. Trust me, I went to Vaughn's the first year, 8 months I was here in Cali. And then I started going to the commissary. It's night and day, night and day. Vaughn's is like $35 a day, and the commissary is like 11 for the same stuff, 11 to 12. It's a wrap. So now the PX doesn't have necessarily the top latest stuff, say video games, and they might not have the price cuts. However, if you're looking for something like, say, an Xbox One, and it's the same out in town, you're not going to pay tax on base. That's a huge benefit. Plus, they have deals, they have specials. Their clothes are somewhat expensive, but the PX does come through in certain areas: cologne, perfume, maybe jewelry, right? So it's good to go look at the PX, right? Sometimes it can be expensive, but there's some deals there too, all right, and tax free. So PX is definitely good. Okay, when you're overseas, you get to travel overseas. That's another benefit. Traveling overseas, you're not paying out of pocket. You're getting your moving allowance. You're getting your overseas allowance. You're getting COLA, cost of living allowance, right? So you're living overseas, making more money than in the States. All right. And you're protected because you're on base. You have your PX, your commissary. So you could be an American and not even leave American town, right? You could just go out into real town when you want on the weekends, right? Some people decide to live out in town, which is great. So you can experience more of the culture for you and your kids. All right. Like I said, moving expenses is another thing. Military covers your moving expenses. So a lot of people, when they move as a civilian, it's expensive, right? Pack up the house, have two mortgages, the renter, movers, all this different stuff, right? The military gives you something called a DLA, which is dislocation allowance based on your rank. And that's to help turn on the bills, hopefully pay a little bit towards your down payment or your first month, whatever. So you get your DLA, you get your travel per diem, you get your per diem, your mileage for your car. Okay, so it adds up, right? And if you're smart, you could do a Diddy move, which means do it yourself move, and you can make even more money, right? Just by being smart, being organized, driving your own truck, weighing it on both sides. There's a lot of benefits, right? Especially if you're willing to do the work. Movies. There's movie theaters on base. You probably didn't know that, right? And sometimes they're first run, sometimes they're a week or two later, but they're definitely cheaper. Let's say out in town you're paying 18, you might be paying 5 on base. When I came in, the movies on base were free, right? I remember going to Pensacola in 1999. It was free movies. It was a wrap. I think I watched Scary Movie 1 for free on base. Anyway, I digress. But but now they're still cheaper, right? And they're still a great experience, right? They might not be top notch, but they're quieter. You know, everybody in there is military. Nobody's acting a fool, right? You don't have to, you're on base. Parking's great. Yeah, it's good. Being on base is great. I plan on going to a lot more movies as a retiree, no job. Let's go to the movie on base, get the schedule, and get in there, right? Gym. This is a huge one, huge one. Now, I'm not a huge fan of the military hours for their gym. When I was in Okinawa, Japan, it was 04 to like midnight or 11 at p.m. It was great, right? Here in America, during the week, it's like 05 to 10. On the weekends, it's like 8 to 6. And then in Pensacola, they're closed on Sundays. It makes you almost want to go out in town. But out in town, are they now on 3-year contracts? It's a mess out in town, right? You never know who's in there. Like I used to go to the gym at midnight when I was in Florida. I loved it, right? Midnight or 1 a.m. But all these weirdos be in there, homeless guys be in there taking showers, and it's like okay. So, and the good thing about going to the gym, the good thing about military bases is there's nothing like a military base after hours. Outside of 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, man, it's quiet. It's a ghost town. So you can actually find a lighted area and run at midnight around almost any base as long as there's lights up. You just go running. You can go to the gym if it's open, or you can run before you go to the gym, after. I mean, it's like your own town. The military bases are the quietest places on earth after 5 p.m. Everybody's either in their house or out in town. So it's a good place for running, gym, exercise, having your own workout, having your own stadium. Like you have a stadium to yourself. Nobody's over there. Track and field, tennis courts, basketball courts, all to yourself, right? It's great. Just after 5, 6 p.m. Okay? So the gym is a good one. Now, there's all kinds of parks on base. Quiet parks, not a lot of people, right? So when you're in San Diego, it's impossible. So Miramar is the base I'm stationed at. So Miramar Lake is right down the street from the base. Man, there's tons of people. It's Parking is all over the place. People are parked outside of the park to get into the park. It's crazy. But you go on base, especially at the right hours, and it's quiet. You can have your picnic, you can walk your dog, you can chill out. It's no stress. I'm telling you, military bases outside of working hours are amazing. So you have parks, especially on the East Coast, where there's tons of rolling land where you could just pick a spot and it'd be your spot. You want to see anybody there, especially you go to a big base, Pendleton, Lejeune, Pensacola, anywhere. Like I remember in Beaufort, South Carolina, there was a dock right by where I was stationed. People would go over there, chill out, throw in their little nets for crabs and stuff like that. It's amazing. Okay. Like I said, I already touched on running. If you're a runner, running on base is great. You can build your own trail right there on base after hours. Not a lot of cars, if any, especially if you run like at 10 at night. Find some lights. There's always a lighted path. Get on there. PMO, police will just drive and say hey, and you just keep running. Put on your glow belt, your glow stuff. Okay, most bases have some kind of camping or RV park. All right, and they're reduced rates. The rates are always okay. I won't say always, but I should say they're at least 30% lower than downtown. Now they book up fast. They book up fast because these retirees like me, we're on it, right? We're booking, we're making our little road trips and everything else. So um, you have to be on it if you want to get in. But like in Camp Pendleton, they have beach cottages you can rent, the whole cottage, right? Like 2 bedroom, right on the beach, like right on the beach. Like you walk out on the beach. You could throw a frisbee from your cottage to the water, right? On nice, protected oceanside beach. Okay. Um, in Pensacola, they have a place called Blue Angel Park where they have these big 3 bedroom, 2 bathroom mobile homes that are in the middle of a kind of foresty area, right? And there's like 10 of them there. And 3, 4 years ago, it was like $70 a night. And you only had to book out like 2 months in a prior, if not 1 month prior. Now they're probably like $100, but still, compared to living out in town or renting a room, even in Pensacola, it's like $200. And you're gonna be in the middle of the city, right? So you can go out there, you have your bonfire, the kids are there, you can walk around the base. The base had disc hockey, disc frisbee, paintball, it had a dock, running area, parks, everything you needed. And then you just walk back to your mobile home, chill out, right? You had a big refrigerator, you could bring everything in, park your car right there, bring your music, bring all the beer you want, throw it in the fridge, chill out, have a great time away from your neighbors. Great. Okay, so on that front, there's hotels. Each base has a hotel, right? Again, based on the season, they might have conferences in those hotels. But if you're booking out, you have the Navy Lodge, you have the Marine Corps Inn, you have the Air Force Inns of the Air Force, I think they call it, whatever, right? And sometimes they have additional ones just for like if you're single, you can stay in like a barracks. They call it a BEQ, Bachelor's Enlisted or Bachelor Officer, right? And I think you may have to be active duty to access those. So we'll see. I don't know. I'm not a retiree yet, but if you're active duty, then you can go, and those are a lot cheaper because this is a barracks room, but it's like $30, right? So if you're just looking at a place to set up your home base and then go travel around, might as well do that instead of paying $300 for a hotel room. Okay, tickets. All right, so there's a Ticketmaster kind of deal on base, right? Each service probably calls theirs. I think the Marine Corps calls theirs ITT, something travel, something tickets, whatever. But you can go over there and probably get 50% discounts on Disneyland, Universal Studios, Legoland, whatever. And in Japan, they booked your trips, right? So they will have a trip already planned, or they will have a kind of a plan for a trip, and then you will go and just say, "Hey, here's $800, family of four." They book all the hotels for you. They speak Japanese. They pick up your flights, the bus from the flight to there. It's like a concierge service, but you kind of just buying into it. So in Japan, and it was for like Korea, China, Thailand, blah 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 blah, right? All kinds of stuff. So in the states, it's similar, right? And if you're a single Marine, they will set up a trip to like Las Vegas from San Diego, and then you just plunk down the money, $100, and then hop on the bus, and everything's set up for you, right? You just had to be a certain place, certain time, which as a military person, you should be anyway. Uh, but yeah, that was amazing. I took advantage of that as a young Marine. There were some couples trips me and my wife went on. There's family trips you could find. You just have to be in the know. You have to get on the email list, right? Or the web page or the Facebook page, right? But if you get into it and you have the time, you can leverage the military for an unlimited amount of things. Unlimited. Plus, if you go, I think before during September 11th, everybody loved us, right? So we're military. I was 20 years old. But then they let us go for free for SeaWorld and Disneyland for like a year. It was a wrap. We were just whimpering because they knew we were all going to go off to war. Okay, uh, bases have pools, so it's hard to find a pool out in civilian world. But yeah, you get an Olympic-sized pool, right? Free. You get to abide by the hours. But yeah, you have a pool that you can leverage. Right? There's people in there. People are playing everything else. But if you just need to get to the pool, have at it, right? Along those lines, if you're on the coast, there's a beach. That's why a lot of bases are on the beach, so they can port, they can, get access to water. So there's a beach, right? Pensacola has nice white sand beaches on base. San Diego has nice beaches in Camp Pendleton, right? So there's all kinds of stuff. There's hiking trails. I mean, man, you name it, right? And this is just a small list. I could probably go on for days. I'm not talking about benefits out in town. This is just on base, right? Bowling centers. You can go bowling for like $3. It's like super cheap. Get your beer, right? You know, have a designated driver, and then you can have a grand old time bowling. As long as you have a designated driver, you all guys can, everybody can have a good old time, become lushes, and have a designated driver and get out of there for like less than $100 for like 5, 8 people. Food, beer, games, shoes, all in. Not joking. And pretty good food too, right? So, man, I'm just trying to think off my head anything else. You know, you have, if you want to be fit, you have the obstacle courses out there. You have CrossFit, you have classes on the gym. I mean, what don't they have? You have family services if you need help or anything else. You have WIC, you have anything, man. You have events. They're always throwing events that you can just show up at, grab free food. I mean, you name it, you name it. Now they got food trucks on base that you can stop at, right? They're probably expensive, but they're convenient, right? You're not out in town at these megaplexes, okay? Man, they got Starbucks on base now. Um, like I said, running trails. It's too much. It's too much. If you want me to elaborate on any of these, let me know. Um, but yeah, man, I've been living a great life in the military, right? I've been very protected, right? Except you go to Afghanistan, you're not protected. But when you come back, there's a lot of benefits in the military. You have to change your mindset, right? If you look at what you don't have, and you can't grow your hair, you can't grow your facial hair, you can't do this, you can't tattoo your eyeballs. I got it. However, if you look at what you do have, it's night and day. And the best part is, you can have both. You could be in a civilian role. You can go to Walmart. You can get your discounts. You can, be a Vons Club member, all this stuff. And then on Sunday, Saturday, you can go on base and be a basey guy, right? You can go to Miramar Lake, run around, have friends over there. And then you go on base and run around, have friends over there. Run at midnight, go to the gym. You can have a 24-hour fitness for the days that you want to wake up at 03. You can have a military one for quiet hours, at like 11 o'clock on the Saturday, right? You can do it all. You can do it all. That's the best thing about the military. You can do both. You can do both. So with that being said, I hope, I hope you give me some knowledge on what it's like to be in the military. I love it. I loved it. I loved it. Okay, I enjoy my time. And now, because I'm retiring, I can still take advantage of all this stuff even more so. Because now I'm just going to be sitting there on the website looking for deals. So with that being said, I'll see you at the next one.